DailyScape has been removed from RuneScape, is what I would be saying if it was true, but it's not true and we need to talk about that. The DailyScape overhaul and free RuneMetrics Pro for members has launched. They've got a separate blog for all the DailyScape changes, and before we jump into that, they've previewed a couple new combat updates coming soon. A couple of these have launched with today's update, and those include Death Swiftness is now mobile, meaning it now follows you around when you move. It's no longer a stationary thing, but Sunshine still is stationary where you cast it. You can drag your Death Swiftness around now though. It's got a new visual effect on it. They have removed the damage over time effect that ticks on it, but it still boosts your range attack. They've also split the cooldown of Surge and Escape. They're now separate cooldowns, meaning you can now surge forward and then escape backwards again without it adding a cooldown to one or the other. I'm sure that'll open up some exciting new avenues. Surge, Escape, and Runic Charge, and also Sigils in general, will no longer clear your stalled ability. Now let's see, there's a goblin over here. If I click attack and then I queue up this one, if I then surge, it still has this ability queued up. Why these things would remove your queued ability before, I don't really know. At least that's how I interpreted this change. If I got it wrong, please do let me know below. I personally didn't even know it cleared your next queued ability, so this was news to me. They've also got some previews of upcoming combat changes. Note that there's hundreds of improvements to combat that they want to do, but they're mentioning some of the more popular ones that they're working on here. They want to add a little bit more power to base magic because they took a lot of power out of the top end gear. They want to filter that back into the lower levels of the skill so that the base magic experience feels a bit better. They want to separate dive and bladed dive. So at the moment, they both share the same ability, and depending on if you have dual wield melee equipped or not, you will have dive or bladed dive. So they want to give them the same cooldown, meaning if you use one, the other one will go on cooldown. I think this is a great change because it is quite a big problem if you're swapping between things at Raksha, for example, and suddenly you've dived instead of bladed dive, and then suddenly all the shadow pools will get sucked in by his attack. So that's a good upcoming change. They want to add easier ways to get lower ranks of Equilibrium perk for Invention. There's more animation and visual effects they would like to add to combat. For example, improving the timing of chain on secondary targets, adjusting Concentrated Blast's animation, and improving the visuals of Assault and Pulverize, for example, among others. Yeah, they say this is not an exhaustive list, but they have more combat improvements on the way, so look out for more information on this space. The RuneMetrics Pro features have also been added in-game for free now, so you can track your experience per hour, your estimated time until the next level, your DPS, overall damage you've done, as well as how much money you've lost or gained, and how much money you're making per hour. All those things are now accessible through the RuneMetrics in-game for every member. I don't know what the situation is for the website of RuneMetrics though, but the in-game one is now free at least. And with that, let's jump into the patch notes and see what they've added or removed. Today marks the removal of large portions of DailyScape. So they're not removing DailyScape, they're just removing a lot of it. Bit disappointing because I thought DailyScape was being removed, but okay, let's continue. Our goal with this is to ultimately let you log in and play on your own terms when you want and how you want. But you also just said that large portions of DailyScape are being removed. That doesn't mean all of it, and that means there's still going to be pressure. We're confident that today's update will provide positive change, but as always, we're listening and open to your feedback. This is why DailyScape can be problematic. It's game content outside of the skill's core identity that is often perceived as mandatory to engage with due to time-gated mechanics and disproportionately high rewards for little time investment. So with this update, they are aiming to move away from much of the DailyScape, but that's not all of it. You're saying much, but this is making me worried, by addressing the problems it can create for players. DailyScape turns gameplay into a chore list. That is true. Instead of jumping straight into content you actually want to play, many players feel they need to work through a checklist of daily activities first. The routines can feel very repetitive and draining, and actually dailies have made me quit multiple times, so I completely believe this. I came back after many months of not playing, but they did make me quit, and they were the reason for it. DailyScape also creates time pressure because many of the activities reset every day. Players feel like they're pressured to log in regularly so they don't miss out on these things. This makes gameplay feel less relaxed as players may worry about completing their dailies before the daily reset happened. And that's also true. Sometimes I've realized very late in the day, oh no, I didn't do my dailies, and I'll log in and a panic and try to rush through all of it as fast as possible. It's not pleasant and I would like it removed. There's also certain activities like wilderness flash events that run at specific times, and this can force players to stop what they're doing in order to participate if they want the reward. This breaks the flow of gameplay and makes it harder to focus on long-term goals, which is true, and it was really annoying during leagues having to stop every so often to go and do wilderness flash events because they gave you 20 levels in the early game for just doing 5 minutes of something. Daily rewards can feel extremely powerful and can accelerate progression too quickly, and because of these rewards, players can move through skill levels very quickly just by completing dailies. You can effectively skip entire skills by doing dailies, yep. So with these things, they've rebalanced a lot of the DailyScape problems into weeklies if they needed to. Some things have been turned into permanent content, like the Guthixian Caches, for example, are now just part of divination, but weeklies and monthlies have not been changed with this update. They say while weeklies and monthlies may create some of the same pressures as daily, the longer time window to complete them makes them far less intrusive. They will review this type of content in the future, but in this update they're focusing on dailies. So what is changing? Daily challenges changed but not removed? Huh? But this is the worst one. Why would you not remove this one? Originally, daily challenges were very high on the list of things slated for removal, and for some players, they were the very definition of DailyScape. I mean, it literally is in the name though, right? It's not subtle at all. It's daily challenges. This is why we initially proposed taking them out entirely. However, after careful consideration and plenty of public and internal discussion, we've decided not to remove them. We're still making some changes to better align the system with the direction we're heading, but we generally agree with players' feedback that it's better to take a more measured approach rather than do too much at once. But this is the worst daily. You're not removing the worst daily? Are you kidding me? Was this entire update a bad joke? Daily challenges have been helpful at guiding new and returning players. For now, we're removing weekly rewards from the challenges alongside the ability to extend or re-roll them. Well, the weekly rewards were all treasure hunter loot box items anyway. They were going to be removed at the end of the year. Of course you're removing that. This also removed the weekly tracker and streak system that will ease the pressure of completing daily You didn't get anything from this tracker. It was just a number. The streak didn't make any difference whatsoever. It's the experience rewards that are bad from daily challenges. They're so strong, it's ridiculous. You cut 20 trees and get like 200,000 experience. Did they gut the entire daily update? Because this is a bad start. Oh yep, there it is. It's still there. Come back tomorrow for more daily challenges. I don't want to see you again tomorrow. I wanted you gone.
He's supposed to be dead!
Yeah, weird.
Let's move on before I get more worked up over this. Guthixian Caches has been revisited to function more as a divination training method. So now at level 35 divination, you can go into Guthixian Caches every time you've deposited 800 memories into the rift. Once inside, there will be no time limit. You just gain 100 points in there and then you leave. They have added a new feature, however, to help with you probably having to go in there alone now rather than a bunch of people. You can now weave together a distraction device that you can throw at the robots that will distract them so you can run past them. And upon completing the caches, you will get a small buff that helps with your divination, so much like the ones before. Soul Reaper tasks have now turned into Boss Slayer tasks. You can now do them without limit. You can keep going back for more tasks. They will gain you some Reaper points as well as some Slayer points. There is a weekly cap of 300 Reaper points, but you can keep getting Slayer points as long as you keep doing them. These Boss Slayer tasks require 45 Slayer and 50 combat to start doing, and because of this change, they have removed the ability to re-roll your task for free. You have to use Slayer points now to do that, which, I mean, isn't great because there are tasks that people will just not be able to do. You've basically got early game bosses all the way up to end game all mixed together, and who knows what you'll get because it's all random. So that's not entirely great. I mean, there's still ways to guarantee the task if you've got a Slayer cape, for example, or if you do a bunch of combat achievements. I can see people getting soft locked out of this and having to spend a lot of Slayer points to reroll though, so that's probably not great. The Traveling Merchant has been deleted completely. I know a lot of people liked it, but it mainly was a band-aid fix to a deeper problem, which is unenjoyable completionist grinds. So they have addressed some of these pain points, one of them being Stealing Creation outfits. So you can get the Fletching and the Crafting outfit from Stealing Creation, but not a lot of people play Stealing Creation, and you need 10 people to start a match of it. So what they've done is they've moved the outfit pieces to the minigame reward shop instead for 360 thaler each. Now this is quite a steep grind now, because I believe that would take you about 6 hours per piece, and that's a lot of minigaming, so it feels like the grind has been made worse in some ways. Don't know if that's great. I mean, it's a new source for the outfit. least. I'm not sure how long it took to get from Stealing Creation either, so... RuneSpan points have been doubled alongside the removal of Traveling Merchant, so you'll now be able to get your Esteem and buy items from the shop much faster. This means you can get faster teleport tablets to different altars that you would like, good for both rune crafters and clue chasers, which is fine, but the problem really with teleport tablets and clue scrollers is that they don't have the inventory space for those things. The reason why clue scrollers like the Wicked Hood is because you could teleport to all the rune crafting altars with it on one single inventory space. So I don't think that this is really for the clue chasers, if I'm honest. It's mainly for rune crafters. It is nice to see that RuneSpan points have been increased though. Kinda wish they'd made the gameplay a little bit more enjoyable, but I guess they haven't touched that. Livid farm has been rebalanced. Spells now cost 70% less. So the price of spells is now 30% of what it was before. Falador Teleport has gone from 35,000 to 10,000. Borrowed Power, 430 down to 130. Massive decrease in that then, which should speed up your progress through Livid Farm a lot. They have rebalanced the drop rates of Uncharted Islands. Since you can't buy them from the Traveling Merchant, they've increased the drop rate of these items in the Deep Sea Fishing Hub itself, but they still don't want to tell us what the red chart's drop rate is. I guess 8 years isn't long enough for us to wait. We have to wait another 8 years. Maybe we'll get it then. And for Wicked Hood, it's no longer possible to get free daily runes or rune essence from it. Any remaining teleport charges can still be used. You just won't gain any more new daily teleports. Tokens are also still around, so if you've got those from various methods, you can still charge up your hood with that. You just won't be able to get any more of them now. While tokens cannot be obtained anymore, they are not yet being removed from the game, though they may get removed with the microtransaction item removal next year, so I would say use them sooner than later. And they do say that RuneSpan points have been doubled now, so it'll be easier for you to get teleport tablets to the various altars. Though it would be nice if you could use the teleport tablets to charge up the Wicked Hood's teleport. You're still able to store talismans in the hood, and you can use it as a all-in-one talisman holder, and it still teleports to the Rune Crafting Guild as well. The Vis Wax machine is gone, and there's also some changes to quick teleports. Any Vis Wax currently in your inventory or bank will not be removed and can be used to add quick teleport charges, so effectively Vis Wax is now a discontinued item. It's also still tradable, which is curious. I wonder if they plan to remove it in the future at some point, or if they're just gonna let it rise in price. Effectively, nothing more can be added to the game now, and if it's tradable, it's gonna turn into a rare item eventually. They've also included a new method of adding quick charges to your lodestone teleports with 5 law runes. That means that it's really cheap at the moment to recharge your teleports, because law runes are only like 160 each. So you're talking about like 700 GP for a teleport. I imagine that law runes may actually recover some in price now because they're about half of their shop price, which is at 370. So if they climb back up to 370, it would be closer to what the price was of teleporting with Vis Wax. They've also tweaked the Rune Crafting Capes perk that used to help you with the Vis Wax creation. It now acts as an anima stone while rune crafting, so it will give you some extra runes. The Masterwork Bow's crafting process has also been tweaked because you no longer have Vis Wax to make it. You now use a bucket of wax on water to create some refined wax, which you then use to wax a magic string. And if you had the previous like half-done item in this, you can separate it now for 50 Vis Wax. Daily shops and NPCs have been changed. Previously, shops worked on a daily rotation. We've changed that so that they now no longer reset daily. The stock that previously would have reset daily now accumulates over the course of 7 days to a new increased cap. So it gives you time throughout the week to go and collect it whenever you feel like it. I really like that change, that's good. There are reports, however, that shops are not properly stocking up day by day, so there seems to be some bugs with this. Some shops seem to have restocked up to 7 days instantly, whereas other shops are still stuck at 1 day. Hopefully that's something they can look at and fix quickly. I'm not going to read up the whole list for you, but it's basically all the stores. If they missed something, let them know. They'll probably add it to the 7-day rotation thing. Liberation of Mazcab's raid has had some tweaks and changes because that used to be on a 3-day lockout or something like that. You'd do the raid, have to wait 3 days until you could go back again and do it for more rewards. So that has been completely removed. Not the raid itself. The cap has been removed. So you can keep doing the raid now as many times as you would like, and drop rates of rare items have been adjusted accordingly. You still have to complete the puzzle before challenging Yakamaru each time, of course. The previous reward from Maximum Gobi Reputation has also been changed, and now gives you 10% increased rare drop chance. Now, there were some dodgy things going on with the drop rates right after the update released, and a bunch of people just instantly got the little Tuzzy pet. It's a little bit concerning. Hopefully Jagex can do something about that, because that doesn't seem fair. Please do a rollback. There was never a rollback. Please just remove the Tuzzy from everyone who got it. No, I missed my chance. No comments from JMod saying they reverted it. It's just a pet, who cares? I think the people who have done hundreds of raids and haven't gotten the pet would care a little bit. No rollback, just early bird special. Okay. They did add a cold fix a little bit later too to fix some crashing that was going on, and with that they gave some drop rates. So the Acto Raids armor is now 1 in 20 from both bosses. Beastmaster drops the boots, gloves, and helmet. Yakamaru drops the legs and chest. The drops still function the same as they did before, so they prioritize your combat style, and then they drop in the order of boots, gloves, helmet, legs, and then chest finally. The ability codex is 1 in 30. And yeah, like I said, 10% increased drop chance on Acto and Ability Codex for the Max Gobi reputation. The Phoenix Lair is a daily that has been changed. You can now do it an infinite amount of times. The amount of quills you get for completing it has been lowered down to 2. You can still get both the baby Phoenix pets from this though, so go out and grind those if that's something you want. XP rates have also been adjusted slightly. Serenity Posts, a very laid-back way of getting agility experience, has had its experience adjusted slightly, but now doesn't have a cap anymore, so you can do it as long as you want. So if you don't want to do laps for agility, you can just go on over here, and if you feel like it, you can copy the poses of the elf, and if you don't, then you'll just get a little bit lower experience. The Crystal Tree Blossom has had its cap raised to 30, so now every day it will increase its blossoms by 1, storing up to a whole month worth of blossoms on it, so you can go and collect those whenever you feel like it. The experience has been reduced a little bit as a result of being able to store them though. Red and Crystal Sandstone no longer deplete, so you can go and mine those for as long as you would like. The rocks mining stats and experience have been adjusted to match this change, and the locations with more requirements are slightly better to do than the ones without. If you want better results, go to the Sophanum or melee your mine and grab that there. Now, I did go and test Red Sandstone at Sophanum. I was getting about 100,000 mining experience an hour. Seems to be about 188 per hour, which seemed on the low side to me personally. Took me about 7 minutes to fill my inventory. Now, this would be fine if you didn't have to click the rock every 50 seconds. Because how I envisioned sandstone was that it would be something you can AFK to just collect some sandstone. Maybe have it be an AFK moneymaker, but it really isn't when you have to interact with it every 50 seconds. Because your stamina depletes, right? And once it runs out, you're not going to be breaking any pieces off of this rock. I worked it out to be roughly 4 to 5 million coins an hour, so that's not going to be something people are rushing to do, I don't think. And that's with high mining level, with all the buffs. Frankly, at its current state, I think flasks will probably just keep going up in price, to be honest, until they become unsustainable. Realistically, at some point, people would go there and do it when they feel like it's worth the money. In my position, though, flasks would have to be like 40,000 each for this to be something I would go and do. And I think at that point, I just wouldn't be using flasks at all because that's way too much. So I kind of hope that they make it a bit faster. Because I mean, I was at the Sophanum one as well. It's even slower if you go to Uglog. If you've tested out the sandstones, let me know what you think of those, because I'd be curious to hear that. My prediction is that flasks are going to go up in price, but... So Fish Flingers now has no limit. You can go and do that as much as you want. They have removed both the daily cap and the requirement to play it. The XP rates also haven't changed, and the rewards are still available from it. And I think this is a great group activity. If you've got some friends you want to go out and do some fishing, you can just go and do that there. But I will say I don't know what the experience rates are. Shooting stars now work pretty much similarly to what they do in old school RuneScape. You can mine as many as you would like. They've shortened the spawn time to 90 minutes and have rebalanced the experience and rewards a little bit. They've also replaced the old store's mining buff with a 15-minute buff that you get every single time you mine a star. The daily talk hole you can claim in Tazar City has now been changed to a one-time lump you can collect of 150,000 Tokkul. So go grab yourself some Tokkul if you haven't. You can now fight Bork as many times as you would like. The first kill now gives you 30,000 Slayer experience, but subsequent kills will not give you any Slayer experience. He will still drop charms though, so you can go and do that if that's something you want. They've rebalanced his drop table a little bit. The aquarium had some things you could collect every day. They've decided not to remove these. Instead, the oyster, kelp, and seaweed decorations will now reset every week and generate 5 times as much as normal. So you can now collect those as a weekly instead of a daily. The Slime Pit Teleport has now been turned into an infinite teleport, letting you go down there as many times as you would like, with the Mauritania Legs 4. And these are from the Mauritania Diary. Big incentive to unlock that now if you need slime for your necromancy rituals. The Evil Tree and Mini Evil Tree have been changed. So the mini evil tree from the woodcutting elite outfit has been removed completely, but evil trees now work the same way as shooting stars. There's no daily cap, you can do them as much as you would like, and you will get a woodcutting buff after successfully defeating a tree, though the experience rates have been reduced a bit. So what other things are not changing? Sinkholes have a daily cap and require players to be in a specific place at the specific time. While we previously announced the removal of sinkholes and the free garager card, we've decided to hold off on this for now. So there's another daily here that slipped through. Players raised a valid concern that removing them outright at this stage would take away meaningful training support before providing proper reworks and replacements. So they're going to revisit this decision as part of the Dungeoneering refresh and remaster. I guess that's fair? Again though, not a big fan of them keeping the dailies when they said they were removing dailies. So what is being removed? Firstly, Wilderness Flash events. We appreciate that they also became a social event for some players. Unfortunately, the nature of their time-pressured content combined with their XP and GP output for disproportionately low input did mean that their continued place in RuneScape was unviable. Well, I mean, that didn't stop daily challenges from being removed, so why couldn't they just keep Wilderness Flash events? Daily challenges are also disproportionately high experience for very low input. It seems like you're cherry-picking what you want to remove at this point. Like, if you don't feel like removing something, then you just won't remove it. They've also made some tweaks to the mini-games connecting to Wilderness Flash events. I don't feel like it's fair to people who liked Wilderness Flash events that they got them removed when people who like daily challenges got to keep them. You should either remove it from everyone or not remove any of it at all. I don't really have a horse in this race because I want them all removed, but I feel like it's unfair. Because this change just makes me confused now, like, what are we actually trying to accomplish here? The road to restoration is all about bringing back integrity into the game, right? So why is this being removed but daily challenges are not? It feels half-hearted, like they don't really know what you want to do at this point. I feel confused. That's the emotions that I'm feeling here. I'm confused that Wilderness Flash events were too strong, but daily challenges are somehow fine. With that said, the rewards that you could get from the Wilderness Flash events have been moved to the Wilderness. So you can now get them from catching black salamanders, finishing laps at the Wilderness Agility course, cutting down the Bloodwood tree in the Wilderness, fully claiming herb patches in the herb patch in the Wilderness, and completing Wilderness Slayer tasks. Now I went out today to see if it was possible to get one of these within a day, and they still seem really rare, so I think the answer is no, they're still really difficult to get. I will say, however, that I spent a lot of time farming, and I didn't get a whole lot. Somehow I got more stuff from 30 minutes of hunting salamanders. I walked away with 2 portable obelisks, one from multiple hours of farming and one from 30 minutes of hunter. I also got 1 shard from farming, 2 shards from hunter. So clearly out of those 2, hunter was definitely far better. But I want to ease the mind a little bit of people who think that onyx cores might be very common now. I don't think they're that common. Though only time will tell, right? Because Jagex decided not to give us any drop rates on this. The Wilderness Warbands was a weird one. It had a 7-hour delay between activities, which meant that it was never active at the same time 2 days in a row. So these have been completely removed. The host of this event, though, can still be talked to at the border of the wilderness if you have any unclaimed rewards. The Motherlode Maw has been disabled completely, and Motherlode shards are no longer available, but if you have any shards remaining, you can still take them to the elf to get rewards for them. And also, Kenna Elise on X went and examined the maw, and it says, "Can you believe people used to stick their hands in this?" It gave me a good laugh. The ability to create divine locations from divination has been removed, but if you have any divine locations, you can still use them. These are untradeable, so you can just slowly burn through the ones you've got left. They say they removed these because they gave a disproportionately high amount of resources for very little effort. Additionally, the memory storage bot Juna now has an increased chance of spawning chronicle fragments instead of increasing the amount of divine locations you can craft. And finally, the modified headgear, which is a sort of upgraded headpiece for many skilling outfits. They would normally give you free stuff every day. All of that has been disabled. You can no longer get free stuff from these headgear. That includes this entire list of all these skilling outfit pieces here. And that is all for the changes. Elysian Wolf also noticed that there's still things in the game that are dailies, that they just never mentioned. Big Chinchampa is still a daily hunter task. Menaphos obelisks are still a daily thing in Menaphos. Runesphere is still a daily rune crafting in Runespan. Jade Vine's a daily slayer / farming. Claiming Uncharted Islands is still a daily. Arc contracts in the Eastern Lands is still a daily. Supply runs in Mazcab is still a daily. Trink's tasks in Mazcab is still a daily. The Heart of Gilnor bounty board is still a daily. The Book of Char is still a daily. Apparently they said that they will tackle these in the later update, but I thought that they would just talk about it later or talk about it when this launched, not that they were doing another DailyScape reduction at a later point. So for all intents and purposes, today's update was not the removal of dailies, it was a reduction in dailies, but there's still very much a lot of dailies in the game, which to me is disappointing because I actually thought they were removing dailies and I was excited about the idea of that. But this just feels like a half-hearted update to me now. It doesn't really feel like they went in to remove dailies. It feels like they kind of cherry-picked the ones they felt like dealing with and then they left a whole bunch of them in there. If anything else, it makes me feel bad for the people who lost the dailies that they actually like, whereas other people got to keep the dailies that they liked. I personally think if you're not going to put your whole heart into something, then you shouldn't do it at all. So maybe this update was actually rushed. Did they need more time to completely process all the dailies that they wanted to do something about? March has been a bittersweet month for me because there's been a lot of disappointing news. I was so excited in January, and I was actually still pretty hyped in February, but March has been really bad. I was excited about the Masterwork range concept art, and that design in-game turned out to be a big letdown. A massive amount of dailies in the DailyScape removal were just left in the game. And then out of nowhere, there was a price increase that tricked a whole bunch of people out of their lower membership prices. So my excitement has been vastly dampened compared to February. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Maybe the road to restoration was a mistake. Maybe they just shouldn't have changed anything at all. Keep all the stuff in. I need to see what people think of this. This is extremely disappointing. Daily challenges are the definition of DailyScape, and they're still busted XP chores that heavily encourage daily playing. Make skilling loops actually good, remove this toxic system. 64% upvote. What, people like easy, no effort experience? That's crazy. I would never have thought that. I thought we were doing like a whole integrity thing here where we were healing the game. If they remove them, backlash. If they don't remove them, backlash. What should they do? They should balance the game. It's clearly overpowered and people like it because it's overpowered. If they added a tree that gave 10 million experience an hour, people would love that too because they could just burn through the entire skill in one sitting. Would that kill the woodcutting skill? Yeah, 100% it would. I like the concept. I wish they were more than 1 minute challenges and more of a weekly thing, longer tasks that kind of just reward you for interacting with skills during the week. Here's a player that says they're happy that they kept daily challenges in because they use it as a what skill should I do today to break up the monotony. If you want to keep daily challenges around as a guidance system, heavily reduce the amount of experience they give, use them as a more of a idea thing. You don't have to reward people so much for so little effort. They could have easily changed daily challenges into suggested things to do per skill page. Please just remove daily challenges. Bruh, delete daily challenges. My god, they already got rid of 90% of dailies. If you don't like what's left, just don't do it. What? That was an option all this time? Oh, I didn't think of that. That's crazy. Silly me, I should have just not been doing the dailies. It's not like they're designed to make you want to do them because they're overpowered. Wow, I wish I'd thought of that earlier. What did Jagex just say right up here? Daily rewards are extremely powerful and accelerate progression too quickly. First thing they say, let's just keep the most overpowered daily in the game. I feel like I should stop for a moment and really explain why I dislike daily challenges so much. I think they're overpowered, first of all. They give far too much experience for how little effort they are. They're unbalanced and they don't fit in because of that. But secondly, I don't like the psychological implications that they apply to people who value their time. The psychological part of why dailies are so strong is because they're trying to incentivize you to spend time on them and the game when you otherwise wouldn't choose to do so naturally. They are effectively manipulating people into saying, look how good this is, you should log in and do this now, otherwise you're gonna miss out. And so people who actually value their time will think, oh wow, I need to do that, I feel pressured into doing it now. If this doesn't bother you, then this doesn't apply to you at all. And someone will likely say, if you value your time so much, why don't you like dailies? They let you skip the boring stuff. Yes, there are parts of RuneScape that are not great. And I think instead of having the band-aid fix that is daily challenges, we should instead have both active training methods that are good and passive training methods that are very relaxed that you can just have on in the side. I know that doesn't exist for everything, but it does exist largely for most things in the game. And so too, by skipping all of this, you're effectively skipping the game. RuneScape is one of the grindiest games that exists. Now, you might enjoy some grinds, you might not enjoy some grinds, but it's all a grind. Doing a boss 500 times, that's a grind. You might enjoy doing that, but it is still a grind objectively. A grind isn't subjective to your own personal opinion, it just means you're doing something over and over and over again. And that is, at the core, what RuneScape is. The solution is not to skip the grind in a game designed to be grindy. It is to create good grinds, be that passive ones you can complete on the side, or active ones that are enjoyable to do. There should be something for everyone ideally, but daily challenges are not that. They're the lazy person's way of gaining experience. They are the equivalent of the 10 million experience per hour woodcutting tree that I keep bringing up. And at the end of the day, people like it for the same reason they like flash events. They're overpowered, and if you remove the rewards from flash events, nobody would do them. If you remove the daily challenge experience, nobody would do those either. There's a reason all these mobile games use daily incentives to encourage you into the game. It's all psychological manipulation, and I don't like having that in the game. This isn't about the experience for me, it's about the psychological implications that it implies. Telling people just ignore it isn't an option because it's still in the game. It's a taint that has, frankly, destroyed a lot of the gaming industry. And the thought of them wanting to remove that from one of my favorite games makes me excited, and that's why I want it gone. And it's the exact same reason why I want a treasure hunter loot boxes gone. It's the psychological part of it really bothers me and taints the game itself. They wussed out and didn't remove daily challenges. That's the one thing I saw most people in favor of removing. Big L Jagex. A lot of people don't want them gone either. Yeah, a lot of people that want to passively get Mazcab. Absolutely lame and disappointing. I am losing trust in what they say again when they promise to address DailyScape and then just chicken out and everything. They did change a lot of things, but I think it's so bizarre that the main DailyScape thing is not being removed. They removed the incentive of doing daily challenges. The experience is the incentive. What are you talking about? The incentive was the insane amount of experience for 10-second tasks. Exactly. I love making 4 attack potions and getting 60,000 herblore experience. Honestly, experience like that is way more broken than XP from flash events. No one was doing it for their weekly progression rewards. I mean, some people were probably doing them for the death touch darts and all their random stuff, but all that was microtransaction stuff that was being removed at the end of the year anyway, so it would have been gone regardless. Massive act of cowardice. They have stated how terrible and warping they are for progression, but are apparently totally fine with that. Yeah, it's such a dumb decision that goes directly against what they're trying to do. Integrity, my ass. If you can't commit to it, you should never have started this Road to Restoration thing to begin with. When they released the Road to Restoration blog and videos, a lot of people sarcastically responded, "I'll believe it when I see it." I owe those people an apology because it turns out they were right. A lot of people have lost trust in the Road to Restoration because of them keeping daily challenges around. This wasn't just some simple, silly daily experience challenge thing. This is signaling to people that they don't have what it takes to change RuneScape into a healthier game. The integrity in the Road to Restoration has been massively damaged by not removing daily challenges. And I'm not telling you to hate daily challenges, it's fine if you like them. You can like daily challenges all you want, you can love the experience from them, I mean that's what people like about them, but I find it weird that Jagex are saying they want to remove overpowered things that are daily locked, and then they're keeping daily locked things that are overpowered in the game. It erodes the trust in what they're trying to do and what they're saying to people. The refusal to commit to removing daily challenges is pretty lame. Seriously, I thought this was surely going to be removed. I'm baffled by the logic to keep daily challenges. You literally said it in your blog that many players consider them the definition of DailyScape because they are. Great changes. Would still love to see daily challenges completely gone though. We've only minimized the issue with them, not fixed it. I was told daily challenges were getting removed. Please kill them, they're awful. Good changes. Not sure why daily challenges are still there though. Disappointed at the daily challenges, as that was a big one. Please remove daily challenges. It's out of all the daily shit that I actually wanted to see gone, challenges was number 1. Removing DailyScape but keeping daily challenges is hilariously tone deaf. Alright, breathe.
Are you kidding? Mangoes! I need to calm down. Everything's fine.
Amanda.
I'm an adult.
Now, funnily enough, about a month ago, a content creator was talking about how daily challenges should stay in the game. Now, do I think one content creator's opinion is enough to make Jagex change their mind? I feel like that's giving too much credit to a single person, but it is actually a funny contrast between the other post having about 60% upvotes and this one having 45% upvotes, because it shows that about 40% of people want to have daily challenges and 60% of people don't want to have daily challenges. Now, like I said, if they added a tree in the game that gave you 10 million experience an hour, people would like that too, because it means that they could just chop that easy 99 woodcutting. Players aren't necessarily the people you should be asking for good balancing advice. Sometimes you gotta just think, is this healthy for the game? And if it's not, you have to do something about it. Frankly, this whole thing makes me worried about the entire Road to Restoration, because if they're keeping the worst daily, what's stopping them from keeping all the worst other things in the game? Why remove the obtrusive cosmetics that look crazy? Just turn them off. You don't have to look at them. If Particle John over there with like 5 billion particles on your screen wants to dance around, then who's to stop him, right? What's the point of any of this if we're just gonna half-heartedly make these updates and not really do what we're setting out to do in the first place?